Hello and welcome back to Sketch and Chill. Today I thought we'd take a look at what appears to be a fairly complex and detailed reference photograph and how we would go about sketching and painting that as simply as we could. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I've already drawn a pencil square here because, as you can see, this reference photo, by the way, it's a street in Edinburgh in Scotland in the UK. You can see from the reference photo that the image is within a square there. So I've put a large square here just to try and keep things sort of in proportion, you know, because if you didn't have that there would be a tendency to drift off to the left and to the right, and the whole image could easily become expanded from left to right. The other thing I've done is, you see these two arrows here. Well, first of all, how am I going to tackle this? Well, how I'm going to tackle this is by drawing this item here. It's some sort of a monument, an old fountain, I'm not sure what it is, but you can clearly see it dominates the foreground and it would be a good place to start. The reason for the arrows, well, that tells me, that gives me the mid position of this monument, and that gives me the lower position. So it's just a reference really. You can see that this arrow here is about a third away along that square. Okay, so that would be, what would that be, around about there, I should think. That's about a third of the way along. The bottom of the monument is probably, oh, it's less than a quarter, so there's halfway, there's a quarter, so it's just above the quarter position there, so that will be there, this quarter position, and then just go down to half and up a bit. So that sort of denotes the bottom of this monument, and that arrow denotes the central position of the monument. It's just to give me a rough guide to make a start. The same with the top of the monument. It's probably about the same position from the top of the square as it is from the bottom to there. Okay, so that makes it fairly easy. So let's just take this position there. It's probably about there. And that there, you see, that will give us a starting point. So if we use that as our starting point, this line is the base of the monument. Hopefully we can't go too far wrong. So let's just it's a fairly complicated or detailed monument, but I'm not getting too involved with the detail. We're just looking for an impression, so down there like that, there's the bottom, so probably around about there for that section of the monument. And there's the bottom there. It's not exactly right, but it's near enough. And now I can draw everything else around based on the position of this foreground item. So where do we go from there? Well, see this street here is obviously sloping upwards. So what we'll do is we'll approximately find this point here, which is where the street converges at the top there. So that's in line with that line, but just above. And it's around about that position there, near enough, isn't it? So if we just take that line there, on the other side, it comes out here, is about there. Okay, so that sorts out the foreground. For the rest of it, it's relatively simple. From here we know we can just go more or less upwards here. And that line there is round about level with that top of this monument, approximately. And it sort of goes round like that, round like that. It's never going to be completely right. You're just making a representational drawing here. So, what next? Let's have a look. How about here? I'm not quite contained within the square that I drew, but it doesn't matter if I slip outside of that. Okay, that's the bulk of it done really. I mean, it's far from being accurate representation, but it's near enough. So really, you know, that's really the bulk of it done. A few bits and bobs here and there. So that is the fundamental structure of the picture put together now. The rest is really just detail, and we're not going to get too involved with detail. As you can see, there's an awful lot of windows and doors and such like. So we'll just, you know, let's just throw in a few things here. When we come to doing the painting, we're going to make this monument or whatever it is, you know, the focus of attention really. As I say, let's just pop in a few windows here and there, nice and simple. Tricks your brain into thinking you're looking at something really complicated, and it's not. The monument itself, we can put a few bits and pieces on that, I guess. Again, we don't have to be accurate. See, I'm going outside the square here and there, it doesn't matter. And then we'll just put some doors and windows, shop windows and things over here. I'm really just making random lines. You know, you can keep going, can't you? You know, I mean, I think I'm gonna pretty much call it a day at that. Maybe I'll just do a couple more bits in the monument itself. Sorry about that, I think that was my phone going off. Couple more windows up here, and then I mean, I might do the odd bits and pieces off camera, but that's basically it put together, isn't it? Okay, we'll stop there for the moment, be back shortly. Okay, I'm back with you again. As you can probably see, I've added a few bits and pieces off camera, just a few simple lines here and there. I've also outlined this monument there to make it bring it forward a bit, and I've also to add a bit more perspective to the scene, I've drawn in a few random bricks here, paving bricks, just here and there. Just gives it that, you know, sense of perspective, and you know that this road actually feels as though it's disappearing into the distance. At least I hope it does. So that's all I've really done. So I'm pretty much ready to put some paint on this. I'm not quite sure how to tackle it yet, but I'm sure we'll think of something. Today I'll be using my trusty water brush. I nearly always use this when it's A4 format. You know, I've got about 100 brushes I could use, but there doesn't seem a lot of point. This one is perfectly fine. So other than that, all I've got is a flat brush, slightly bigger flat brush, just to lay some water down. So that's how we're going to start, just by putting some water down around the monuments. No sky on this. This is supposed to be waterproof ink, black ink, but even so it still tends to smudge a bit. I don't know why, because it's actually calligraphy ink. Maybe I just haven't left it long enough. Right, let's have a look. Start with some raw sienna, I think. Here and there. For the moment, I'm not going to paint anything inside of this. I'm really painting negative space here. Yeah, I don't think I left the black ink long enough, but it's not a problem. So just a bit more there, and a little here. I think this is vermilion. Is that what they call it? This colour here? I'm not sure. A little bit of purple into the mix as always. Some cobalt blue. I don't want to do too much and overdo it here. Right, I think we'll just have a bit of a splash in there. Trying to avoid the walls in the office, otherwise I'll be in trouble again. I quite like the way the monument's standing out now. I've put some colour around it. So put a bit more. Obviously totally random, doesn't matter. And I think I might just leave that to dry. The only thing I'm going to do now is see this road, this cobbled or paved roading is quite interesting. So in fact I don't need to leave it to dry really. Let's just crack on with it. Stop messing about. Lay some water down as always, but you don't have to. Touch of vermilion here and there. So I'm probably going to leave this to dry for a little while now. After it's dried a bit, what I might do is just paint in one or two of these odd paving stones here and there. But otherwise, okay, I think we are about finished now. As you just saw, I've just done a few highlights with the felt tip grey pens. I decided not to put any colour within this this object here, a monument, because I thought there was enough colour surrounding it, and I didn't want to, you know, lose it in amongst all the rest of the colour. I've painted in a few of these cobblestones, so I'm hoping that the whole effect is sort of a little bit more three-dimensional than when I first started. I hope I've simplified what was, or what appears to be, a very, very complex scene. Nothing magical about it. It's a bit of an optical illusion in a way. You know, it's just tricking the brain into thinking, seeing a whole lot more than there actually is. I mean, all I've done, I've drawn a few lines here and there, a few windows here and there, a bit of shade here and there, and pretty much that's it. So, okay, I think that will do for today. So, as always, thanks for watching, and we're back again soon.